Welcome to the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com as part of your Wrestling Wednesday card. I'm your host, Michael Davis. On tap today, it's the legacies of championships and the legacy of a competitor with a cult following, some would say. We're running back from last week. Shannon Smith is going to join me right now on Drop the Mic. I heard a lot of great stuff about our episode last week, and let's go ahead and run it back. Shannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm usually drinking Sprite, but I'm drinking water today. I'm being a little more health conscious. And plus, I ran out of Sprite. So, yeah.
You can't run out of Sprite. That's a foul right there.
Man, and the funny part about it is not even my favorite soda. You know, it's one of my favorite sodas, but it's not the favorite soda. So,
what's your favorite soda?
My favorite is Dr. Pepper.
Yes. Okay. Let's go. We're in good company. A couple nights ago, I'm starting the staff train at my other job, and we have a bonfire with a lot of the boys camp, and what was our beverages of choice? Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper.
Hey, now that's what I'm talking about. That's good. I like it.
We roasted some sandwiches on the fire. We roasted some s'mores as well.
There's
a guy, you know how like you buy graham crackers and you break them and then put the s'more? There was this guy who roasted 6 marshmallows and just kept this, like, instead of breaking it in half, grabbed 2 of them, had 6 marshmallows, like 4 pieces of chocolate, smushed it, had like a huge s'more.
Woo.
He was doing it right. I took some notes.
Like it. I like it a lot, man. I like it.
I took some notes. I'm going to try it next time. Now, why I don't like, or I don't know if you have any other opinion on this. Well, last Wednesday we were on Drop the Mic, and then on Friday you were a guest on Out of Pocket with Michael Davis. Friday at 4, we talked some basketball, and then we talked some wrestling.
Yes.
And then the Tobacco Road Sports Radio producer Desmond Johnson dropped the news that there would be potentially a new title being debuted that night on SmackDown.
Yes.
Well, now everybody, honestly, including me, is pretty upset that the title did get revealed, but it looks exactly like the other titles. Shannon, I was like so let down when I saw. I don't remember being that let down since, I don't know, they revealed the Raw Universal title, which looked the exact same. I swear we've gotten these reveals 6 different times. Do you have anything good to say about the new championship that they debuted?
Well, at least it's universal, meaning that, it can switch shows. Like if the champion goes to SmackDown, it's not going to look like a SmackDown championship. And if the champion goes to Raw, then it won't look like it belongs to a certain show. That's basically the thing that I was okay with. It's a neutral title. And I'm good with that. The World Heavyweight Championship is the same way. But other than that, I wasn't too blown away. I wasn't like, I was just like, okay. That was it. No wow factor. But I don't know if I'm supposed to be wowed or not, but I don't know.
I was not amused by it at all whatsoever. Well, and think about it too. Like, we just come off the edge of like the World Heavyweight title being reintroduced. That took criticism because it didn't look exactly how people thought it would, with WWE title. I liked it.
I did too.
But you can't follow up that reveal with, a reveal of a title that, honestly doesn't look that great. I mean,
they changed a few colors and then they were like, okay, cool. Here you go. And that was it.
Yeah, that's literally the same title. Shannon, that's literally the same title. They just
I know.
Put the background as gold.
I know. I saw the same thing you saw. I saw it too, and I was like, yeah. That was it. That's all I had. That's all I got.
I mean, and okay, if you're going to have to play devil's advocate, I remember Roman Reigns in a promo like a couple years ago said that everything he touches turns to gold. I feel like that would have been a good time to change the Universal title. from blue to gold. Not, hey, let's debut a new title and let's also call it the undisputed title,
Right.
even though there's another world champion on Monday Night Raw.
They could have like said it a little differently. They could have said, the title's getting a reboot or the title's getting a change. Not saying it's a new title. They could have like changed the way that they presented it, So that may be why everybody is let down.
I'm let down. On scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this new championship for Roman?
I say a 4. It's a, and at being generous, a 5. I'm pretty much like I wasn't blown away by it, but I'd probably say a 5.
I'll give it a 3 just because everything I touch turns to gold. That is that's legit the only thing saving this. This is the same design we've had, dude, since
For years.
2013.
It's been for years. I mean, so I wasn't expecting like something huge or anything like that. I wasn't expecting like a big reveal. I wasn't expecting that. I kind of got what I thought I would get. So it's all good.
I mean, would you rather have him carried the two? I'm almost on this case of like him carrying the two belts made it look a little stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but one belt I believe is better. I think Dez hit the nail on the head on Friday when he said, having two belts makes the other belt look lackluster or look like a consolation prize. So that's what I'm good with. I'm okay with that. I do understand why that Roman had two belts. I do understand why, because there was no brand split at the time, and there was no other world championship at the time. It was just the two belts, and he unified the two belts together, and it made Roman look larger than life when he was carrying two belts. It really added on to his character, and it made him more of a believable champion. So that's what I'm cool with there. Only thing I needed Roman Reigns to do was just this is my yard, and have the big dog shirt on. That's the only thing that I needed with him with those two titles, and that would have been it.
I mean, and for our YouTube audience, if you're watching on the Tobacco Road Sports Raiders YouTube channel, you subscribe. We're like at 830 some right now. Last time I checked, that may have even went up. Who knows? And so, thank you for subscribing. This is good stuff, good content. I love talking with Shannon, talking with my other guests on Drop the Mic, Ryan Frick with Cat Cave, Out of Pocket with all the fun discussions we have there. Hopefully Miami pulls through and I can go on Friday's show with a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals.
We're gonna see, man. I mean, they played a very great game. In the first half of that game, even though they were down 7 points, I believe it was 6 or 7 points they were down. The team stats were like together, like they were pretty much neck and neck with the Nuggets. And then that second half, they turned it on. The Nuggets' inability to hit shots really got them. I think the Nuggets slept on them a little bit, and that's what happens when you sleep on teams in the finals.
Just like everybody else has slept on Miami the entire tournament. If we go up 2-1 tonight, I will definitely just go to Dez on Friday and be like, so you want to take that back?
Oh, not yet, man, not yet. That 2-1 is going to be. That 2-1 will be very, very surprising to a lot of people, though. It'll be very surprising if Miami goes up 2-1. It'll be really surprising. But not saying it can't happen, but it will be a surprise.
I mean, this is a good series, and this right here has been a really good title reign that Roman Reigns has had. No pun intended on that one. And just to put it in perspective now, he's crossed over 1,000 days. That's where he got presented the ugly title that we're not choosing to look at right now. And he also is like a week away from passing CM Punk's WWE Championship reign that he had of like 434 days back in 2011, 12, bleed into 13. Like Roman WWE title that he's only held since last year's WrestleMania is about to surpass one of the greatest, longest modern day era world title reigns in CM Punk's 434. Like that is how good Roman's been. And it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So Shannon, I want to pose to you. His shirt says greatness on different level.
Mm-hmm.
Is this greatness on a level we've never seen before? Is he like entering or even there the conversation of greatest WWE champion of all time?
You got to include him in the conversation, man. And I'm gonna tell you what, this is why I believe it. Because aside from Roman Reigns, only 4 other men in the WWE ever have held the title for over 1,000 days, and that's Bruno Sammartino, who did it twice. Hulk Hogan, Pedro Morales, and Bob Backlund. Those are the only ones. Roman Reigns is in that company with those men there. And of course, when you talk about CM Punk's reign, that's the closest. CM Punk's reign in 2011 is the closest that any other wrestler has been in the past 13, 14, 15 years. So you got to put Roman Reigns in there. And of those 5 men, those are big shadows right there that are above Roman Reigns right now. And he's doing incredibly well. I mean, there were a lot of people out there that slept on Roman Reigns so bad, and I'm one of them. I will go ahead and say that. When Roman Reigns gets like around the time that Roman Reigns was coming up as a singles competitor, and every time he tried to cut a promo and the whole crowd is chanting boring, boring, boring the whole time and giving Roman Reigns a bad rap a lot to this. Now, the same people that were giving Roman Reigns a bad rap are the same people that are congratulating him on 1,000 days as champion. That says a lot. You got to put Roman in the conversation, and that's going to really hurt a lot of people's feelings.
That will go to tell you what character can do for your career.
Mm-hmm.
Like Roman Reigns is the perfect example of a wrestler having a really bad character, really bad gimmick, a really bad role in the company. Vince trying to make him something he's not, and then turn around a few years later and finally turn him heel, finally start tapping into his physical and family gifts that he has, and like, hey, let's run this story. And they've ran this story for nearly 3 years. And
it worked.
I like Shan, you know as well as I do, you're watching a few pay-per-views and you're getting bored of a certain storyline and you're like, okay, it's time to get on with it. We don't need to see it anymore. This hasn't happened in the 3-year tenure of Roman Reigns, the bloodline. Like this is a story above all stories right now.
It's getting better and better also too. And with the fact that when they did Roman Reigns 1,000 days and then unveiling the title and the Usos coming out at that time made it really, really good as well too, because at one point in time you thought that Solo was really going to leave Roman Reigns at that time. You thought that they were going to get back together. There was an emotional roller coaster because you thought that Solo was going to side with the Usos. You thought that was going to happen. And then later on, you thought that they were going to get together when Roman embraced Jimmy. And then Roman takes that mic and goes, no. And then Solo hits him with the Samoan spike. And here we are again. Left wondering.
And the same emotional roller coaster people were on. I still remember very vividly Sami Zayn, getting his shirt ripped off of him. Looks like he's getting kicked out of the bloodline. Roman tosses him the Henry U shirt. Like I remember that emotional roller coaster. And to replicate that, like, where are we like at least 6, 7, 8 months removed from that?
Yeah.
And you're still having that emotional roller coaster with the fans in attendance and the people watching at home. Like that's next level storytelling. And this makes me think that they already know where they're going for Money in the Bank. They know where they're going for SummerSlam. Money in the Bank is next month, the first weekend of July. What do you expect to see the Bloodlines match be now that Solo has turned on Jimmy and kicked him out of the Bloodline?
Jimmy and Roman are going to wrestle singles, and Jay is going to be a special referee.
Whoa.
Who is he going to count for?
Oh.
Who's he going to count for? Who you going to pick?
I never thought about Jay being put in that position as special guest referee.
He was in a rock and a hard place on Friday. He was in a rock and a hard place on Friday. He was looking around like, who do I go with? Who do I go with? Like he's sitting here trying to play the peacemaker. He's sitting here trying to say, look, y'all, we're family, we're this, we're that. And then later on, when Solo hit him with the Samoan spike, he's sitting there holding the bag like, who do I go with? Do I go with my brother? Do I go with my cousin? Do I go with Solo? Paul, what we doing? That was him.
Wow. That was that's a good idea. You know, I don't know if we'll put a Book It Bear segment right there, but hey, WWE, even if you have a plan, that's got to be in the cards somewhere, somehow.
Hey, man. It came to me today. It came to me like middle of the day today.
Well, oh, that's a good idea. I wish ideas came to me like that. When it comes to like ranking Roman, if he's in the conversation, I don't know if you put him. I don't know if you put him below Stone Cold. I don't know if you put him below Bruno. I don't know if you put him below Cena. We were talking a little backstage about Cena. I think he surpassed Bret Hart. I think he surpassed Triple H. Even though Triple H, honestly, I will go to bat for so many times just because of how much he did as a heel champion to get all the baby faces over. Like,
absolutely. Oh, that's true. I mean, for real, he put John Cena over 3 times. No, 4, I believe. 4 times?
So many times. There was WrestleMania 22.
Yep.
There were a lot of times Triple H put guys like Cena over.
Right.
Would you put Roman over The Rock in terms of WWE champions right now?
The Rock is in a league of his own, considering the fact of how marketable he was. Now, if it's skill for skill, you got to go with Roman Reigns being a more skillful wrestler than The Rock. But The Rock himself, you didn't know what The Rock was going to do. You didn't know what The Rock was going to do on the microphone. The Rock was so entertaining. Like me, as a kid, I'm watching Rock. Every time The Rock got on, even when The Rock was a heel, I was like, what's The Rock going to say? What's The Rock going to say? What's he going to say? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? And The Rock would go in there and do some foolish stuff. And you want to talk about hollering. I laughed so daggum hard when The Rock was coming on. I loved it. But once again, like I said, this is the reason why I say you don't want the Attitude Era back. This is why you don't want it. This is why you don't. Because you have conversations like this and I see your face. Listen, I like Roman in the ring over The Rock. I do. I like Roman in the ring over The Rock. And that's not taking anything away from The Rock. That's not taking anything away from him. Not at all. But if it comes down to straight up wrestling, Roman is a better wrestler. Fight me.
If this was Friday, I would call you so out of pocket on that one. I would ask Desmond to mute your mic. Like this is
fight me.
I mean, Roman's good in the ring.
Yes, he is.
But it's mainly like character work, how he's gotten over. The Rock was good in the ring. Like you can't deny The Rock.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying The Rock is a bad wrestler. I'm not saying he's bad. That's not true. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if it comes down to actual skill for skill wrestling wise, I'm going to take Roman. I'm not saying The Rock is bad. That's not saying The Rock is bad. Not at all. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, because older fans like me are going to not give it to the younger guys, and that's not cool. I think that's really something that I don't like. Is that we put so much limitations. We put so many limitations on these younger wrestlers, like Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, when he was in WWE. They put so many limitations on him. They put so many limitations on John Cena at one point in time. And John Cena about had as many moves as Hulk Hogan did. And they need to leave that man alone. So, and he about had the same move array as Stone Cold Steve Austin. But they still want to give it to my guys that I grew up with. And I get it. I understand it. I do. But you got to look at these younger guys. You got to start seeing the parallels. You got to start seeing the body of work that these younger guys are putting in. You have to give them something. You do. They're not. My guys that I grew up with are once in a lifetime. You're not going to get another Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're not. You can hold on to hope with everybody else, but you're not going to get another one of him. You're not. You're not going to get The Rock again because of all the limitations that these guys get on the microphone. You can't go and do what The Rock did in 1997 that you can do in 2023, and you can bet the house on that. That's the part that I kind of have a problem with, is because some of the stuff that my guys got away with are the things that the younger guys can't get away with now. And that's unfair to handicap them or cripple them. It's not fair. Things have changed.
You make a really good point there with saying, you can't replicate these stars in this era. Games change. If you go back and watch the 90s, it's a completely different atmosphere. If you go back and watch the early 2000s, it's a different atmosphere. Just like the 70s or 80s, like wrestling evolves.
Yes.
So do characters, so do storylines, so do matches. Like that ability in the ring, even though I'd still probably put The Rock over Roman in terms of in-ring ability.
And I get it. And I understand that. And I totally get it. I mean, I can make an argument for either or. But as for me, this is what I'm saying, because especially in this day and time, because there's a lot of moves that are outlawed now that were okay during the time I watched wrestling. The pile driver is something that's been taken away. That's another one. So the DDT was overplayed after Jake the Snake. When the DDT became such a taboo move, everybody used it. When Jake the Snake used the DDT, it was crazy. But you had so many variations of it, it got boring. So that's one thing that I look at. So you got to look at these parameters as well too. The sport's evolving. Get over it.
Hey, and the moves evolve too. And one of the big things is like, thinking about, comparing later years to today.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be very careful because, we didn't know, or at least I didn't watch, Bruno Sammartino.
I didn't
hold
either.
the title for 4,000 days. Like,
right.
You don't watch those guys. So admittedly, I didn't even watch the Honky Tonk Man and his Intercontinental title reign that's held for 454 days. It was a 454-day reign. It's held since 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a historical record. And now Gunther right now is on his own historic title run, just like Roman Reigns is. Gunther's at like 360 some.
Mm-hmm.
So he's at a year now, pretty much. I think he'll hit a year this
Saturday.
weekend. Yeah.
Saturday.
It'll hit this Saturday. He only has Macho Man and then Honky Tonk to surpass. And so I'm starting to think he gets this record, don't you?
It needs to be done. It really does. I mean, if you look at it the way that the stair steps of it, Pedro Morales held the title for 425 days, and he lost it to Don Miracle, who held it for 385 days as soon as that happened. And his Miracle's reign ended in 1984. Then we fast forwarded to the Macho Man in 1986, moved into second place for 414 days. And he lost the title to Ricky Dragon Steamboat in that wonderful WrestleMania 3 match. And of course, the Honky Tonk Man won the title and broke the record. He won the title from Ricky Dragon Steamboat in a controversial manner on June 2nd, 1987. 22 days from my first birthday. Yes, I'm showing my age. So, but since that time frame has came, only 7 men have held the Intercontinental Championship for 200 plus days. Only 7. Since 1987, only 7 men have done it. Gunther has, and that's before Gunther. That's before Gunther. 7 men have done it. Gunther has had more consecutive days as champion than the last 3 champions. Sami Zayn, Ricochet, and who was the other champion? But Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shinsuke held it 200 days, didn't he?
He held it. He held it over 200 days. He was one of the 7 wrestlers that was mentioned. But in the past 3 winners, because he was King Nakamura when he won it the last time, he was King Nakamura. Of course, that's neither here nor there. But again, it goes into that. That just goes without saying. Gunther has held that title longer than the past 3 champions. He's had the most wins since Mr. Perfect in 1990.
Wow. How many wins does he have?
When on Saturday it'll be his year mark. Saturday will be his year mark. That'll be Gunther's year mark. But Mr. Perfect had 280.
Oh, wow.
He had 280. And that was going from his second reign, because he held the Intercontinental Championship 3 times, I believe. And then that second reign where he split the championship before he had 280 wins. 280 days as champion. I mean,
right.
So yeah. So I think that Gunther does it. I don't see why not. It's only a matter of time. It's been 37 years. Let's do this.
37 years.
It's been 37 years.
Wow.
Let's do it.
I mean, and it feels like this is the reign to do it. Like his WrestleMania match where he beat Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in triple threat, like that only solidified, hey, he's going to pass this reign. But I don't know who you have to beat him. And I'm sure that'll be a talking point here on the podcast moving forward. Is there any name that sticks out to you as of today?
I mean, I don't really like the choice, but Damian Priest is a guy that sticks out at me because he's held a U.S. title before, but his age kind of worries me. And I would have to say Riddle would be another.
Are you in this camp of like age, deterring you from opportunities like LA Knight potentially win Money in the Bank?
I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but you have to look at it. It's something you got to look at. I mean, you have to consider it. I mean, I don't like it, but you have to consider it.
Yeah. I don't know. Intercontinental title reign for Damian Priest wouldn't be too bad. There's a rumor they're wanting to have some younger guys compete. And I think it's only a matter of time till Gunther loses his Intercontinental title after setting the record. But I think next year's WrestleMania, have Gunther challenge for the World Heavyweight title. I mean, it's there.
Yes, I believe it. I believe it, man. I mean, I put Gunther probably 3rd all-time Intercontinental Champion. And the only reason why I say that is because the evolution of his career. Of course, Honky Tonk Man is 2nd because the consecutive days as champion. And number 1 is Chris Jericho. He had 9 reigns. Number 1 is Chris Jericho. He had 9 reigns. So why not put Jericho and look at Jericho's career? And that's another thing. The body of work that Chris Jericho has put in, and Macho Man. You can add Macho Man as honorable mention. I would probably put Macho Man above Gunther also too because he held a world championship as well. But if Gunther wins a world title, but if we're talking in terms of Intercontinental Championship and just the Intercontinental Championship alone, Jericho, of course, you can intermingle Jericho and Honky Tonk Man, whichever, if you feel is more important, which is times holding the title or consecutive days as champion. It's either or. It's how you feel. That's just my opinion there. Jericho, I think, is the best Intercontinental Champion because he's held it 9 times. He has Honky Tonk Man, of course. He had 1 reign and it was a long span of days. I think Gunther has 1 reign and it's a long span of days. I think it's 1 reign. You got to put him in that world championship picture. I believe you got to do it.
Yeah. I just remember them not striking the iron when it was hot with Braun Strowman.
Right.
Like Strowman was obviously getting made out to be the guy beating Brock Lesnar or beating Roman Reigns, and they never put the strap on him until the COVID era where their hand was forced and Roman couldn't compete at COVID Mania, so they put Strowman in there to face Goldberg. By then, you don't get the fan reaction, 1, and 2, all the momentum is gone just in a span of 2 years. You don't want to wait too long to put the title on Gunther. But to take on your point of Chris Jericho before we move on, Chris Jericho does have 9 reigns and, most of all time, but The Miz is slept on so hard.
I think so too. Yeah, that's true. You're right.
He has 8 reigns as champion, and he is 2nd on combined days as champion.
But I can kind of fight that. I can kind of fight that a little bit. I think the Miz was kind of the El de facto Intercontinental Champion, but you can also say
he made the title relevant. Like that was the thing with the Miz, is like back in 2016 with SmackDown, it was the Miz and Dolph Ziggler.
yes,
Like that was the
interchangeable,
moment.
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the whole time. That's what it was. And then the Miz held the title for 24 hours, and then Dolph Ziggler would get it. And looking at all of this when I was doing my research and everything, you did not see a list of days for champions. Some of those guys were holding the title for days, for like one day. Some of these guys were holding the title for like a month. Some of these guys were holding the title for 2 months. So in the same way with the WWE Championship as well too, when I was doing that research as well too, some of those guys were holding the titles for maybe 6 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 30 days. And it takes relevance off the title when you do that. When you don't have somebody who's a mainstay champion, it takes relevance off the title, and it makes the title look like it's just they're playing hot potato with it. It's not a good look. It takes it away from, and then it takes away from the guy that wins it. That's another thing. It lowers their stock. Why don't you just go ahead and put the title on a guy that looks like he can hold it for a long time? Let him take on all comers, start building these guys up, and then you can have relevance on this title.
I'm just glad they're past the, hey, the title, put it on a part-timer like Goldberg or Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Somebody who's like super established and definitely doesn't need the title. Gunther needs the title.
Yes,
Rollins doesn't need the title, but he deserves it.
Yes.
Roman Reigns, people keep complaining about, why is a part-timer? He's never here. Dude is doing the best work we have seen in years. He deserves that title.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't take it off of him probably until next year's WrestleMania. Like that's a good title reign. But there was some criticism if we switch gears from WWE to AEW. There was some criticism towards AEW's decision. Of course, we do drop the mic on Wednesday afternoons, 2:00, and you may be watching live, you may be watching on the replay. But Tony Khan's announcement last Wednesday night, was about 6 hours, 7 hours after we got off air, was CM Punk was returning. I have a couple issues with this, Shan, and we talked very briefly about it on Friday's Out of Pocket. But since it's dropped the mic and we have more time,
yes,
I don't know if it was smart if he's going to return to announce his return on TV. Like it was just oh, okay. I mean, cool. Like announce it the same way you announce where All In is going to be, or like announce a time frame for this new show. Oh yeah, just announced CM Punk's coming back. That could have been AEW's lived off pops. I think they could have lived off one more pop. And I'll hold off on that second one because I can go off on a huge rant. What you make of them announce it just like, oh, Tony Khan's got an announcement. Let's say CM Punk's coming back.
It was very surprising to me. I think that's something that you kind of let on a pay-per-view. I think that's kind of something that you do on a pay-per-view, and then later on you might just go into a match, or you might go into like starting a feud or starting a rivalry, or somebody coming out here and just raining on a parade, or something like that. But not on the show. I don't think that it was good for TV. But Tony Khan might be trying to stir that pot once again.
And I would have been okay with like them teasing it since Collision's in Chicago that first weekend.
Yeah.
And then Punk come out that first episode of Collision. Like,
yeah.
Do something like, even the worst comes to worst, do another like media scrum with CM Punk and Tony Khan, where Tony introduces CM Punk and like come full circle. Like, do something.
Right. I can dig that. I'll be okay with that.
But I don't know if I'm okay with them letting him back. So if you guys have listened to the podcast before, there's two things, right? There's two things. One, has this been an elaborate storyline or work? Like, or was this actual reality that CM Punk got in this fight and got suspended everything? Well, honestly, looking at the timetable of his injury, looking at the timetable of him coming back, and yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like Tony Khan pulled a wool over our eyes. People were expecting that MJF's pipe bomb was real last year. So this isn't outside Tony Khan's realm. Anyways, that you can go back 2 or 3 weeks and listen to that whole theory with Insider Matt. But
Yes.
if it was real, do you let a guy like this back into your locker room after you've like had some drama backstage, but you're getting on the right track? Let's bring back the drama. If this was real.
I mean, I think it would be. One of my good friends asked me a series of questions about who my favorite wrestler was, who is my favorite up and comer, men's, women's. He asked me a question of who's the wrestler that needs to retire. I said Punk. I think Punk's got to let it go. You know, it's a media circus in WWE. Now it's a media circus in AEW. I'm over it at the point. I'm really, really over it. I know that's Dez's favorite wrestler and all. So
Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Yeah, shout out to Dez. I had a good time with him on Friday, man. I enjoyed it. But I'm over it. I really am. I'm just over it. You know, I think CM Punk, if this is not a work, I think CM Punk is just mad that these guys don't worship him. I think that he's just, he wants to be worshipped. He wants people to bow at his feet. He was mad that WWE didn't bow at his feet. Now it seems like he's mad at AEW because they didn't bow at his feet. I get it, man. You feel like you're great. You feel like you're the best in the world. I get it. But, dude, you can't sit here and get mad at people just because they don't acknowledge you, man. You know, just because they don't put you in the top 2 or they don't put you as the one. Yes, I know. Yes. I bet he watches Roman Reigns promos and gets really, really mad. I bet he sits here and kicks the TV and punches his hands in the air like Trey from Boys in the Hood. I think he does.
CM Punk going to come out on Saturday's Collision, be like, Chicago, acknowledge me, or else I'll
makes
quit.
Him look bad, and it really makes him look bad, man. Because I like Punk, I do, and I've always enjoyed seeing him in the ring. He's great in the ring. He's very, very skilled. He's very skilled. He's wonderful on the mic. Punk is good, but he's messing around and he's making himself a bad seed in the wrestling business, man. He's becoming the Ultimate Warrior in a way to me. He's becoming an Ultimate Warrior, just basically leaving a bad taste in people's mouths. And then he's going to get 50, 60 years old and realize that he was the cancer all along. And it's not good, especially with someone that talented. I'd be okay if he was a jobber and he was this way. I'd be okay with that. But you're so good. You're so talented. You're a wonderful worker. And I'm pretty sure you got a good heart and a good mind for the business, but you're not showing it.
And see, this is where, when you get into like, is it a work storyline? Is it a shoot? Is this real? That's where I start having issues of like, if this was a storyline, you might have done like legit public damage to CM Punk's reputation.
Absolutely.
For a storyline.
Absolutely.
And unless you swing this in a way of the Elite are now baby faces, they've had a feud with the Blackpool Combat Club who turned heel. Unless you make this like Punk go heel, I don't like this next part I'll say, but FTR go heel and have heel Punk and heel FTR versus the Elite.
Yes.
In the O2. Like, I don't know, maybe, or not the O2, the Wembley Stadium.
Right.
That could be something interesting, but
it could be.
I know you don't really like CM Punk. Is there any like matchup you'd want to see him wrestle when he comes back?
I'd like to see him get in the ring with Switchblade. I would like to see him get in the ring. I mean, and no disrespect to Punk, I just don't like his attitude. But in the room, at any time and not have an issue with it. But there's gonna be some people that would love to watch the match to see Punk lose. I mean, but I'd love to see him in the ring with Switchblade, Malachi Black, Sammy. I would like to see him in the ring with some of those guys. I would. I think Punk would do a good job. It's not that Punk would be horrible for the business in the ring, but in the locker room, on the other hand, that's another story. I mean, I have no issue with Punk going out there and performing because you're going to get something good out of it. But then again, you're going to get a lot of backlash. You're going to get a lot of heat for, just the fact that his attitude is just not good. And that's what I hate about him right here. There's hit the nail on the head. He's that type of person that just kind of looks like he looks down on the business. And that's what I see out of him, man.
It'd be super disappointing to, if he does come back, he's got to be on short leash. Like,
yes,
he can't do any of this stuff again because it's happened once in WWE, happened in AEW.
Yes,
what could happen in AEW again? Like, this would be the 3 strikes, you're out kind of thing.
Absolutely.
AEW has their main event announcement tonight. Do you think it's going to be CM Punk, or do you think it's going to be a title match? I can't really tell what they're leaning towards for the main event tonight, Collision.
Now, I know what I'd like to see, though. And one of those would be a title match, MJF and Sammy. I would like to see that one. And I would also like to see the rematch of Cole and Jericho. Some type of stipulation in the match. Some type of stipulation. Some type of special match. I'd like to see it again. I mean, but that's what comes to my mind right now. I mean, and Punk might be on the menu for this in a main event. He might be. So
now, when you start talking about a special match, and I can't help but think the AEW's Collision logo looks a lot like one for WCW Nitro. I can't help but think
the same thing. I'm like, oh man, they did that on purpose.
Man, they
all
did.
All the nuances to the WCW Nitro. They're trying to bring out young me, and they need to stop it. It's not right. Don't play with my emotions. Stop playing with my heart. It looks just like it.
It looks identical to it. So I can only think, when you brought up Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho, you know what? Let's go real WCW. Yes. Let's go Vince Russo. Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho with Dr. Britt Baker on a forklift match. Let's do this right.
Oh,
that will be your main event match.
Yo, that's.
I mean, that would be a really good story. Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho, man. Come on, baby.
Yeah, man. I mean, for real. It's not for the Cruiserweight title either. So.
Not for the Cruiserweight title.
They tried to put Chris Jericho. They relegated that man to the Cruiserweight division, which he did a great job with it. I get it. But, they crippled a wonderful talent. A lot of those guys were main event guys, but you know how that goes, man. You got guys in here that think they know the business better than others.
And, that doesn't work a lot of the time. But,
no.
When we talk about something that could work, we have a pay-per-view that I'm more excited about than Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, honestly, All In or All Out.
Yes.
I'm excited about AEW's Forbidden Door because I'd already heard of a match, and then I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. And then when I heard of another match broke a few days ago, I picked up the phone and I texted my dad. I'm like, Dad, you gotta see this. Like, did you see this? He's like, no. I'm like, we're going to get
You got to
Bryan
go.
Danielson
Yes.
versus Kazuchika
Kazuchika
Okada
Okada. Yes.
at Forbidden Door.
That's going to be incredible. I mean, Kazuchika Okada has been a part of 6-star matches. My favorite match with him was when he and Kenny Omega wrestled for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and it was an hour-long match.
Which time? Like,
oh man, when Kenny won the title. When Kenny won the title. Now, the storyline in the Christmas thing when he got him on Christmas, man, that was great, man. When Kenny had him. Then Bad Luck Fale was laying on him, and Kenny was singing "Let It Snow." Oh, classic, man. Bullet Club for life. Oh, man. For life.
You got to do it. But,
oh, man.
Man, Danielson Okada, that's a dream match.
It is. It really is.
That's above and beyond what I could think of or imagine.
It's great. I mean, for real, they booked this incredibly well. And that's one of the things about, AEW and ROH and all these, they open the door for these matches that you would never really see in the WWE ring. I mean, I get it. I understand contractual stuff. I understand. I get it. But man, this is going to be so good because I love Kazuchika Okada in the ring. I mean, I love him in the ring. He's probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I really would put him up with anybody in the business right now. Anybody.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like any of the 4 guys they mentioned, honestly, already for Forbidden Door, I would put in that category. And let's go ahead and bring that other one up. Like we get Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Those 2 guys, they could go for 60 minutes, and I would ask for 60 more.
Absolutely. I mean, and Will, coming off of the injury a couple years back, he's doing very, very well. And I'm glad about that, because, that was pretty fatal. I think it was his back or was it his neck that he hurt? I think. I'm trying to remember what it was or how long ago it was. But Will Ospreay is always going to give you a great match, hands down. He's going to give you a wonderful match, very wonderful submission specialist, very technical guy. His
the aerial assassin.
Yes, exactly, man. He's very entertaining. I mean, he is tailor-made for a match like this with Kenny. It's a long time coming. It was only a matter of time. This is going to be fun to watch. I want to see if Kenny lands that V trigger on him. I want to see that. I'm a big Kenny guy. I've been a Kenny guy for a long time, and I love Kenny. But this match here is going to be, I don't know, it might be another 6-star match. I think Dave Meltzer might give it another 6 stars. I think he could. Either that or the Bryan Danielson match with Kazuchika Okada could be 6 stars. I really think it could be. One of those 2 will probably be a 6-star match. I think it will be. I really do. The parameters of those matches make it to where it can be 6 stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know how much weight I put on Dave Meltzer's star ratings.
I know.
Sometimes I agree. Sometimes I disagree.
I know.
But
I get it. I mean, he has a beef with WWE. He has a huge beef with WWE. You can tell. You can tell. I mean,
he's a little more lax with AEW. Like, come on. Like, wrestling's wrestling. Come
on, man.
You got it.
For real. I mean, it was like pulling teeth for him to get Gunther's match, the Clash of the Castle. It was like pulling teeth for him to get him to like the match.
Now, I do remember saying in one of my earlier podcasts of the year that we had already had match of the year in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
We had already had it. Now, what that match was at Wrestle Kingdom with Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
As of now, that still stands. I mean, there were a couple good matches from WWE this year
but I think that's
went
it.
Like, whoa. But oh my gosh.
That's it.
Could Ospreay and Omega duplicate or even exceed those expectations at Forbidden Door that they set for themselves at Wrestle Kingdom?
They said the same thing about Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega, and how did that turn out? I mean, these guys are going to push each other to the limit. this is going to be a different look to this match here. This match is going to be a different look than Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. This match is going to be the aerial assault of Will Ospreay to the wonderful offensive technician that Kenny is in the ring. This is going to be a classic. It's going to be another one.
But the cool thing is like, we can say, Omega's offense. Ospreay, like we rattled off great submission, great technician, aerial assassin. He's literally a complete package, and he only turned 30 last month.
He's got more ways to go, and that's what's going to be great. And I think Kenny is going to be in a position to bring out the best in him.
It would be incredible to watch these two matches. I don't know of any other dream matches you want to see on June 25th at Forbidden Door. I believe we're 2 weeks away from that, 2 weeks from this upcoming Sunday. Are there any dream matches? MJF still needs an opponent.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. And I got two of them. Jay White's probably going to try to go for that title for MJF. Or Jay White wrestles an upcoming AJ Styles for the rights to Bullet Club. A guy can dream, right? Okay? A guy can dream.
Upcoming AJ Styles.
AJ Styles coming in and wrestling for the rights of Bullet Club. A guy can dream, right? Okay.
Oh yeah. If WWE opened the Forbidden Door. God, don't get my hopes up like that, Shannon.
I know, right? That'd be one of the best things in the world, just seeing AJ Styles come out of nowhere in a Bullet Club shirt. One more time.
One more time.
It won't happen. It's not gonna happen, but a guy can dream, right?
A guy can dream. You can do it on the WWE 2K game. Be Fight Forever. I don't know if you can create a custom superstar on that, but
oh yeah.
You can do it. You can have those dream moments, but
somebody's got a mod out there for it. Someone's got a mod out there. Someone does.
Well, I love that AEW tried to making their video game like more arcade based. But I saw a video picture of Jade Cargill in AEW's game versus a created Jade Cargill in WWE. It's night and day. Like, come on. This looks like PS2 versus PS5. It ain't no contest.
I was afraid of that though. When they were talking about AEW coming out with a game, I was afraid of that. I thought it was going to have shades of WCW Nitro back when I was a kid in about 1997 on that PS1. Whew, that game was rough. Rough. I mean, when I hit the Diamond Cutter with DDP, it was like, this isn't real.
Not a chance, but we are out of time for today on the Wrestling Wednesday card. Got to keep up with the rest of the wrestling podcasts on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Shane, thank you so much for stopping by and dropping the mic. It's always a good time having you.
Hey man, thanks for having me. We'll
always have the invitation open. I appreciate you. Whenever I text you, you're like, "Yep, got you." Okay, 10-4.
Let's go.
And this is always one of the highlights of my day. Everybody, tune into Out of Pocket with Michael Davis at 4 live this Friday on Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. We will not see you next week on Drop the Mic. We're going to take a week off of programming. Drop the Mic, Cat Cave, even Out of Pocket next week, and go on a little vacation. We'll see how that goes, but
he needs rest. He needs rest.
I don't get rest, but it's okay. It's okay. No, Dez needs a rest. Dez
True.
is the one.
He does.
Going hard, but we will have Out of Pocket live this Friday, hopefully with a 2-1 Miami Heat lead that I get to talk about from the NBA Finals. Hey, just keep. Hey, 3 more. This is all I've wanted. I didn't even expect this, but 3 more. We will see you guys Friday, Out of Pocket, Michael Davis, and then in 2 weeks for the another Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast.